In this lesson, we're going to focus on the middle colonies. Okay, now we talked about the New England colonies in the last lesson. The fact that their economy is dominated by environment, that the climate and the rocky soil limits them to things like subsistence farming, which is just farming for your family, manufacturing, making things in factories by machine, shipbuilding, fishing, and lumbering. And that another big component that dominates life in New England is religion. Okay, it influences everything from your work to the government. Okay, so we're moving down, and our next group in this presentation is going to be the middle colonies. Okay, now let us review, like we did last time, let us review who our middle colonies are. Okay, there are four of them. They're in the blue there, highlighted on the map. Okay, and again, like we've been doing, these notes are, you just have to take them on your own paper. There's no worksheet or anything like that to fill out. So just jot them down as we go along. Okay, so if you remember, the middle colonies are New York, that was the big one, New Jersey, which was across the river from Pennsylvania, and then the little guy in the bottom was Delaware. Okay, those are our four middle colonies: New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. Now, we made a big deal last week. Why are they called the middle colonies? Because they are in the middle. And because they are in the middle, there is a lot of foot traffic moving back and forth. So what you're going to see develop in the middle colonies, because they are in the middle, is a very, very diverse society. There are a lot of groups coming to the middle colonies, groups like the English. The English are going to be there. I mean, they are English colonies. But before the English were the Dutch. Okay, we talked about New York being called New Netherlands, and New York City was New Amsterdam. Then the English come and drive the Dutch away, and the English take it over. You also had German-speaking immigrants coming up into Pennsylvania. Okay, think about the Pennsylvania Dutch, well, that would also be the Dutch, but you had German-speaking immigrants coming up into Pennsylvania. So because they're in the middle, okay, they're going to have a very, very diverse culture. Their economy is also going to be diverse, okay, and their society is also going to be diverse. And you might ask, okay, why are people coming to the middle colonies? Well, they are coming for religious freedom and economic opportunity. Once again, think the middle. Okay? Why did people go to New England? For religious freedom. Why are people going to go to the South? For economic opportunity. Okay? So why would people come to the middle colonies? Because of both. And once again, it's because they are in the middle. We see a lot of foot traffic with people moving back and forth. So it makes sense that the people here in New England want to be here for both reasons. They want freedom and they want economic opportunity. Now, a big component as we go through each one of these sections is to talk about the economy. Okay. And the middle colony economy has three main activities. Okay. Oh, before we get to there, their government is going to demonstrate the democratic principles that reflect the basic rights of Englishmen. Again, we're going to see influence from New England and influence from the South in establishing a government that represents the basic rights of all Englishmen. Okay, and this increased desire for democratic principles. Okay. All right, now let's switch gears and let's talk about the economy. Okay, so there are three big economic activities in the middle colonies. All right, one is shipbuilding. Think about New York is on the coast. Okay, New York is on the coast, New Jersey's on the coast, Delaware's on the coast. So it makes sense there's shipbuilding there. But there's also a bunch of rivers that crisscross through the middle colonies. Okay, New York is full of rivers. In fact, in some respects, the Great Lakes are going to border into New York. Okay, so like Lake Erie. Okay, Lake Erie, for example. So you're going to want ships to be able to access all these waterways that crisscross through the middle. So shipbuilding is going to be a major component of the New England economy. By the way, shipbuilding was of the middle colony economy. By the way, shipbuilding was also part of the New England economy. So remember, we talk about the middle as being influenced by both sides. Okay, it would make sense that we see shipbuilding here because it was in New England and now it's in the middle colonies. Okay. Another big activity is farming. Now, we're not talking plantation. Okay, we're not talking about plantation, but we are talking about bigger than subsistence farming. Subsistence farming was just basically farming enough for your family. Now we're talking about small farms where you could actually earn a profit. You could make a living. It's bigger than just growing stuff for your family, but it's still not as big as plantations. Okay. And probably one of the best examples I could think about, if you've ever read the story, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, the Van Tassel family was a small farmer. That's how they got their money. Okay. They made money from farming. And Ichabod Crane has dreams of marrying Katrina, the daughter, and inheriting her father's farm and money. Okay, so we get small farmings. Again, influence from the South. Agriculture is going to be a big thing in the Southern colonies. All right, so it would make sense that we see it here in the middle colonies as well because they're in the middle. All right, so small farming, growing more than just for yourselves, but not as big as plantations. And then probably the biggest economic activity in the middle colonies is trade. Okay. Again, because of their location, they are in the middle. If you want to get to New England from the south, you got to go through the middle colonies. If you want to get to the south from New England, you got to go through the middle colonies. They are in the middle. It would make sense that there's a lot of trading going on in these colonies. In fact, two of the big seaports, the big commercial centers that we find in any of the colonies are in the middle colonies, and those are New York and Philadelphia. Okay, we talked about that last week when we were filling in that map of the 13 colonies. And I told you both New York and Philadelphia are major economic centers. There's a lot of money being transferred back and forth in New York and Philadelphia. And it's because of this trade. Okay, so we got shipbuilding, we got small farming, and we got trade. Trade really is going to be the key economic activity in the middle colonies because they are in the middle. Now, because of their location and because of their desire to be open to everyone, the middle colonies have a very, very flexible social structure. And again, it's related to their location. They got a lot of foot traffic. There's a lot of people moving back and forth. So they have a very, very flexible social structure. I told you, William Penn, when he founded Pennsylvania, wanted Pennsylvania and Philadelphia in particular to be a shining example to the world. It comes from a biblical passage. It's going to be a city on a hill that shineth for the world to see. And the reason that he wants it to be a shining example is because when it comes to religion, we're going to see multiple religions. Okay? And we're going to see a great degree of religious tolerance. And William Penn says, look, I know what happened up in Massachusetts. In Massachusetts, people came looking for religious freedom and religious tolerance, but they weren't willing to grant it to everybody. That's why you had Rhode Island. Rhode Island is the colony for dissenters. William Penn is saying, look, you can come to Pennsylvania and you will have true religious tolerance. Now, I'm using Pennsylvania as an example, but you're going to find the same thing in New York. You're going to find the same thing in New Jersey. You're going to find the same thing in Delaware. Okay, multiple religions and a greater degree of religious tolerance. I mean, look at the groups. You had the Quakers coming to Pennsylvania. You had the Presbyterians going to New Jersey. And you had the Huguenots and the Jews coming to New York. Okay. In fact, there is still a large Jewish population in New York today. I mean, they form their own neighborhoods around their culture, around their belief system. Okay. So we see a big mixture of people in the middle colonies, once again, because of their location and because they are attracting people from the other ends, from New England and from the South. Okay. By the way, if you need help remembering where did the Jews go when they come here, and I apologize, I am not trying to be offensive and I'm not trying to be racist or anything like that. If you need to remember where did the Jews go, think New York, Jew York. Okay. And I actually had another teacher share that with me, and um, I've had Jewish students before say, actually, that's pretty creative. That's going to help me remember that. So if you need to remember where did the Jews go, think New York, Jew York. Okay. Also, because of this flexible social structure, and because we are trying to be tolerant of everybody and bring everybody in, I told you this last week, we're going to see the middle colonies develop a middle class. Okay. In their economic system, there's going to be a middle class. Now, in New England and in the South, you're pretty much either going to be rich or poor. There's not too much in between. In the middle colonies, you're going to see a new economic classification arise, and it's the middle colony. It's the middle class. You're in between, okay? You're not exactly rich, 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 but you're not poor, poor, poor either. And some of the groups that we see in this middle class are artisans, okay? Artisans, and be sure you get this definition down because it's going to be on your quiz, okay? Artisans are people that make things by hand. Okay. You're not making things in factories with machines. You make things by hand. So painters, sculptors, woodworkers, okay, carpenters, those are artisans. And because they are the ones that can do it, not everybody can do that. Okay. Not everybody's going to be a painter. Not everybody's going to be a sculptor. Not everybody's good at working with wood. Because they are able to do that, they can make some money. Okay. Because it's not like everybody, like I said, it's not like everybody's going to be able to paint or sculpt or work with wood. They can make some money. So artisans are craftspeople. They work with their hands to make stuff. And they're going to be able to make some money with that. You're also going to see entrepreneurs, okay? Entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are business people. In fact, if you've taken personal finance and some of the other economic classes here in at the school, entrepreneurs are business people, but they're also business people that are willing to take risks. And they are willing to take risks because they know they could lose money, but they also know they could stand to make money. Okay. So they have money that they could lose, but they also are willing to do that for a greater return. Okay. So entrepreneurs are business people that are willing to take risks and form a new company or create a new industry. Okay. And then last but not least, you got your small farmers. You got your small farmers. So what we talked about just a second ago, you're growing more crops than just what your family needs or maybe what you can trade with your neighbors, but you're still not having the wealth that you were going to find in the plantations down south. Okay, so small farmers are also going to be part of this middle class. They're going to be making some money, but they're not going to be rich, 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 and they're not going to be poor, poor, poor either. Okay, so artisans, entrepreneurs, small farmers, those are all members of the middle class. And that's it for the notes on the middle colonies. Again, their location is going to impact so many things with life in the middle colonies. Because they are in the middle, you're going to see a diverse economic system that's going to be influenced from New England and the South. Okay, you're going to have farming, which is definitely a Southern influence, but you're going to have shipbuilding, which is from New England as well. You're going to have a greater degree of freedom and tolerance. Okay. And that's going to carry over to the government. Okay. Which is why we see those democratic principles become so important to people in the middle colonies, because we're trying to foster this climate of tolerance and freedom. And then you're going to see the growth of a middle class. Okay. Somewhere between the very poor and the very rich. Okay. So the middle colonies are in the middle. And because of their location, that's going to play a major part in what we see in their society. Okay, we're going to see a big mixture in their society. Well, we've talked about New England. We talked about the middle colonies. Now we're going to head down for our last group, and we're going to talk about the southern colonies next.